A lot of people always want to know, is their track ready to be mastered? Is their mix good enough? Let me explain. A mix that's good enough to me has nothing to do with how polished it is, nothing to do with technically if it's a great sounding mix or not. All it has to do with is, does it make me feel something where I listen to it and I have a good listening experience? That's why when I will listen to songs people send me, very often I'll do it in the car. Someplace where I don't have access to metering, I'm driving somewhere and it's just what I turn on the music, no distractions, and I just try to listen and like it. You have to have the intention in your head of, can I enjoy this song from start to finish without anything jarring me, without anything making me reach for the volume and turn it down, or anything making me, cringe my face. My ears hurt now, so I gotta go like this. Or, something that makes you want to change the EQ on the thing. Like, really, you don't want to have to mess with your presets or whatever your stereo sounds good at with all the stuff you listen to. You shouldn't be messing with that when you put on a song to listen to. If it's ready to be mastered, you should be able to turn it up loud, turn it down, and everything sounds great no matter where you listen. This is a very good test, and it prevents you from looking at meters to judge if things are good or not. A big thing mastering engineers will do sometimes is they'll analyze the song and say something like, oh, there's a lot of distortion, coming from something, probably a limiter. Can you remove the limiter or something like that? I don't understand why these guys do this stuff. It makes no sense to take something away from the song if the mix feels and sounds great. In other words, if you got to listen on, your special speakers to hear it with your graphs up and see what's good, if you got to do that, that's not really the point. A great mix feels great. That's what it is. It's got nothing to do with if there's a little distortion on it or not. If you take off some hiss and distortion and things like this from any of the amazing songs throughout time, you would change the way those songs sound drastically. So it's never about how clean it is or how technically perfect it is. All it is about the feeling you get when you listen, and if you can have a good listening experience. That's why if you come at it from the mindset of, let me listen to this and see what I need to change, like, what can I pick out to be able to mix this song? That's the wrong mindset. It's that you're looking at it from the point of view of somebody who wants to make changes, rather than listening to it saying, I hope I like this, and I'm really hoping, I'm intending to like it. And you have a broad enough palette with a lot of different tastes from different genres to be able to bring to the table to make you like it. You hit play, you listen, and if you get through that song thinking to yourself, all right, if your head starts moving at all at any given point, if you don't have to love the genre, you don't have to love the song, but if you just listen and have a good experience listening, and you turn it up and you're having a good experience, then it's the mix is done. There's no point to mix a song again from scratch if the mix is already there. Now, this gets especially hard when people mix their own songs. They often can't judge accurately when they get in a deep hole of they've been doing it and redoing it and adding every new technique they used yesterday that they just learned in every mix they're doing. They're trying to make, does this sound better? Does this sound worse? You are now so zoomed in that you can't possibly have that objective perspective anymore of what this really sounds like. That's why that extra look from somebody who's honest and will go into this thinking, I have no reason to mix a song again if it already feels like a great mix. Why would I want to recreate that? There's no point to do that. The only people that would want to do that are the desperados who really need something. They need to get paid, so they want to mix everything. So that's the person you don't want to work with. You want to work with people who listen to your stuff and give you that honest opinion. So if you work with good mix engineers, they will tell you if you send them a mix and they got hurt by something, or if something was inconsistent, something important like vocals, if they're not consistent and you want people to be able to hear what you're saying, which is very important to a lot of people, it's probably one of the most important things in a lot of different genres. And all of a sudden the vocals get lost when the music gets too loud. The music comes up in certain parts of the song and you lose vocals. The clarity isn't there. You got to say that as the person they're hiring to work on it. You can't master that and not tell them, hey, This needs to be changed if you want to hear your vocals clearly. I can't save it during mastering. Mastering's the last 5 to 10%. 10% is even generous, probably 7%, 5 to 7% of the end is what mastering is. That's all it is. It's just bringing it up that little bit, but it's not rebalancing the whole thing. You can't do the same thing as you can do in the mix. Mixing is building the thing from scratch, using your opinions, your decision making, every step of the way. A million decisions you're going to make when you mix. Whereas when you're mastering, it's just about do no harm to what is here and just improve a little bit. Take it from the 5-yard line into the end zone, the 7 into the end zone. That's it. It's not more than that. So if somebody hires you to master a song, but it's a mix that is nowhere near good, the low end's blowing everything up, the whole mix is ducking constantly, you can't save that in mastering. You need to mix the song from scratch, or they need to mix it, make the changes for you to be able to master it. So I'm upfront honest with everybody. When they hit me up, they want me to do something, I'm going to listen to it and then decide based on if I can have a good listening experience or not based on anything about polishedness. Andy Wallace makes very polished mixes. Steve Albini makes very raw, kind of mixes that are authentic sounding to the band. And they are both right, technically. Neither one of them is a bad mixer. They're amazing mixers, both of them. All right, rest in peace, Steve Albini. He will forever be an amazing mixer. The point is, that is 2 examples of stuff where they're both great mixes, but it's the person's opinion of what a mix should be that gets imparted into the song in both cases, and they both could be good. So you got to sit there and not want it to be whatever you would envision the mix to be, unless they hire you to mix the song. Then that's what you would be doing. But if they're not hiring you to build it from scratch, you are just being hired to master, then you need to listen to it from the perspective of both of those people. If it's a Steve Albini mix, it's still great because it makes me feel something. If it's a polished Andy Wallace mix, it still feels great because it makes me feel something. As long as that's the case, then you should just master it. You shouldn't take on everything with the thought process of I need to mix this. So if you guys have this understanding, I think 1, you'll keep a ton more clients and they will keep coming back to you. 2, you won't wind up wasting your time trying to build something from scratch when it's already there, and you might actually ruin things in the process. 3, you will basically put yourself in a position to be respected by anybody who learns that this is what you do. But another thing, if you are somebody who does this professionally, I want you to understand what that means. That means if you do this every day and this is your career, this is your job, I don't recommend you to be giving everybody your opinion on their mixes without being hired. In other words, to me, this separates everybody. This will divide out every single person who's serious about their music and their art and people who aren't. Because the ones that are serious, they know nothing good comes free. And the ones that aren't that serious, that just want to get things for free, are the ones that aren't going to want your opinion really anyway at the end of the day. They're not going to value your opinion, and they just want you to listen to their mix and give them opinions. You probably have more important things to do if you're somebody who does this professionally. You probably have mixes to work on, or you should be. And if you're not working on mixes, you should be practicing things you don't know. You should be researching things. That's what we do constantly. Most of us, even professionals to this day, it's like these are the guys I've always found that want to learn the most all the time. They're up on the latest plugins. They want to know if that's what they like. Plugin. They're looking at every possible thing of what's new solutions for what, because this is what we do. That's our free time, is that. Like when I stop working, I practice working. Like that's what you know what I'm saying? When I'm not working on a mix, I'm practicing. I mentioned this before, how to make that same mix I made on my console with all my gear. I'm trying to make it sound like I'm not using my console and gear and I could do it all in the box. To me, that's off time. So what I'm saying is, and if you're not doing that and you're not trying to constantly get better, then you're just getting worse. It's just getting worse. That's why it's almost funny to me sometimes when people think like they can maintain their weight, blah, 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 blah. Like if you've never worked out, maybe you don't get this, but the point is you're either looking worse every day or you're looking better every day. And anybody who thinks that their goal isn't to get in shape, their goal isn't to look better, all you're doing is agreeing to make your goal to look worse, because by not actively pursuing looking better in terms of your fitness, your health, you're automatically deciding to make yourself look worse, because that's what time does. If you slow down and you stop, you now are going backwards, as opposed to constant progress in the other direction. So it's the same thing with mixing. You stop working, you stop getting better. You stop learning, you stop getting better. You can't just sit on what you know and keep doing that. And that's why we never have time for anything. That's why when I'm working on music all day, then I'm doing that, I don't have time to listen to a bunch of songs for people who haven't hired me. So all I'm saying is, if you hire me and then our goal becomes the same, we're aligned, I want to make this product as great as possible. So if you hire me to master something and it cannot be mastered in a way that's going to make you happy and makes a great product at the end, I'm going to tell you there's things wrong with it that you should change before I do. Or I'll tell you, you might be going for this. Are you going for the vocal to be in the background? Because if you're going for it, then it's great. Are you going for the snare to fluctuate in volume and not be consistent? And sometimes it's too loud. Sometimes you can barely hear it. If you're not going for that, you may want to make these adjustments. That's the point. That's what, when you hire somebody, you get this. At least this is what I found. The people I've worked with in the past, when I was, not somebody who could do the work for myself, what I basically did was I needed to rely on people's opinions that I trusted, but I had to hire them to get it. Nothing good comes free. That's the point. You can't just expect to get free opinions all the time. It's not going to get you anywhere. And if your work is valuable enough to you, you won't think of it that way. All right? So I hope everyone gets it. Everyone here is in the same position. We're all trying to keep getting better at this, even the professionals. That's the goal. We all want to keep getting better, because we know as soon as we stop getting better, we're going backwards. Well, I hope you guys dug it. If you did, do me a favor, throw something in the comment section. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. I really appreciate it. It helps the channel more than you know. Talk to you soon. Evan Jaffe, Custom Cut Studios. You guys got this. Take it easy.